Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have from Blackstone, Massachusetts, Katherine M. Bradford. And Katherine is the author of the book Bones. And welcome, Katherine. This is a mystery, right?
No, it's a collection of short horror stories.
Oh, cool. That's even better. I haven't read it, by the way. I haven't read it yet. She brought it in for me. It's going to be a real treat for me to get into this. Give us, just without giving away a lot of it, give us an idea, a taste of what's inside.
So, 2015, I had an idea to write some stories. I had a tragedy happen in my family, and I really needed a way of getting past that. So I had a series of stories I had on my mind, and I decided to try and link them all together through the theme of fall. So this book is all fall stories. Oh,
I love it. And you have, she has labeled every single At the Heart of a Corn Maze?
Yes, yes.
What's that about?
So that's about a mother and son who go to a corn maze to see what's at the middle of it.
Ginny's pumpkin?
It's about a little girl who is in a pumpkin patch while her family is off doing their own thing in her little adventure.
Spooky?
Spooky's about a little comedy about a ghost who haunts his roommate, basically trying to get his attention, and his roommate's trying to write. And
are these stories that you've made yourself?
Oh yes, yes.
These are all your short stories.
Yes.
There are a ton of them in this book.
Yeah. So what I did was I tried to do different genres. I've been a horror writer for about 30 years, and I tried to do something different. Yeah. So there's some funny stories. I tried to do some romance. There's a time travel story at the end. There's a lot of a mix of genres.
You've got some sci-fi in there, right?
I have some sci-fi in there.
Have you been in any of the author expos at all?
I haven't, no.
Not yet.
No.
Oh, when this was recently published?
I published this in 2015.
Yeah. So it's only about 2 years.
Couple of years
ago.
Yeah.
That's not that. Now she told me too that you started writing at what age now? You were a kid, right?
The first published story I had was when I was 19. I actually was an editor of a magazine right after high school.
The high school magazine?
No, I started my own magazine.
I've always wanted to do. How on earth did you? What was the title of it?
It was called Dark Sun Rising. And it's actually kind of a funny story because I had been trying to get my stories published through some of the magazines back then. I don't know if you know how hard it was to publish stories in the 90s. Yeah. And I was having a lot of problems, so I started my own magazine. Yeah. And I had a bunch of people who sent stories, and I went through the process of editing, and my brother and I put it all together, and we published it, and it was different.
Is it still out there?
Unfortunately, I only had enough money for one issue because I was only 19 at the time. Yeah. And then I joined the military.
You went in the Navy?
I was in the Navy, yep.
Tell us where I already know, but tell us where you went in the Navy.
So I was in Sardinia. Yeah. I was there for 4 years. That's the giant island off of the coast of Italy. Yeah. And I drove small, they call them LCMs, land mechanized craft. You probably saw them during World War II, boats that the fronts flop down and the soldiers come out.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I drove.
And then they just hit the land.
Yep, that's what I drove when I was in Sardinia.
What year were you in Sardinia? Vietnam was going on.
No. In the 90s?
No. Okay, all right.
No, I was actually really lucky. I enlisted between the invasion of Iraq and when Bill Clinton left office. So I was in that small...
So you were in that little area?
The little space between wars.
How long were you in the Navy?
4 years.
4 years. Did you write when you were there?
I wrote, but I didn't write stories. I wrote more of a journal kind of a thing. Okay. My writing's all over the place.
That is okay. So you got back from the Navy. When did you go into engineering?
So after the military, I came back, and I had been working with the computer techs in crypto technology when I was in the military, and I was pretty interested in it. Yeah. And my father was an engineer as well. He's a military contractor. Yeah. So after I came back, I worked as a contractor with the Navy for a while, and I got really interested in the systems. So I managed to get a job at IBM, and it just kind of took off from there.
Yeah, and that was, how long did you stay with IBM?
I was in IBM until 2002.
It's pretty doggone good.
And then I worked at Pfizer.
Yeah. Pfizer, that's the pharmaceutical, right?
Yes, I was at Pfizer for a while until 2010, and now I work for Mass DEP.
Okay, DPT.
DEP.
DEP, the protection. Now, I was telling her beforehand, we have a lot of people here in Upton who are very environmentally conscious, which is great. Tell us about what you do.
So I am the lead web administrator for the Mass DEP, so that's all of the different departments. So DCR, that's Department of Recreation, DPU, that's the Public Utilities, EEA, which is our executive branch, DEP, which is the Department of Environmental Protection, that's the inspections and stuff. So anything dealing with water or air, so the weathermen, they get their information from us. The the parks, the beaches, all of that is licensed through us.
Okay, so our Upton Town Beach is licensed through you.
Yes.
So do you have to come and inspect it?
We have people who inspect, yes.
Okay, I know they test the water. They have to test the water because we have little goosies that come around.
And we do that too.
Yeah.
We do that too.
Are you involved at all with, probably you didn't mention the electric companies or the utilities. You don't check on them, right?
The project we have going on right now with them is we have a clean energy project where they're replacing things like in public buildings, the lighting for more energy efficient lighting, and things like fleet cars, trying to get more hybrids on the road.
The hybrids that used to be the Hummer, but no, wait a minute. No, that's what's
This
that?
is the public vehicle, so like the Ranger vehicles, the environmental police that drive around, that sort of thing.
Because I think Priuses are the more, the public drives those around, right?
I'm not the one who makes the calls on that. Yeah. I'm the one who maintains the web servers where all of this is from.
Yeah. Do you get to go travel around and see these places?
Well, I travel around and support people.
There you go.
Who see these places, but
now you were raised in Freetown.
Freetown.
She had to tell me where this is. It's near Fall River.
It's near Fall River. Yep.
And all your life, that's where you grew up?
That's where I grew up, yep.
And you were born down in that area?
No, I was actually born in Texas.
Texas?
Yes.
How the heck did you get over here?
My father was a military contractor.
Ah, okay.
And we moved all over the place.
Oh, wow. You had a brother?
I have one brother and two sisters.
Are you the baby, the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest. Mm-hmm. So you had 3 siblings.
Yep.
Did any of them become writers or engineers?
No.
I can't tell you how many engineers we've had on here who are much older than you are, retired, and then they decided to go into writing. But you started very early.
I started writing first, yep.
All through high school also?
Yep.
Did the teachers know how talented you were?
The first story that I ever had published was published by my 7th grade teacher. It was in the magazine, in the newspaper on the front page in Lakeville.
Wow. Wow. That is, and then there was a magazine that you started, you told me about that. Yep. I've always been interested in that, but it looks like a daunting task, and you did it at 19.
I did it with my brother at 19, yep.
How did you two do it?
It was really tough because computers back then, we didn't have really good word processing, so we put things into kind of a notepad kind of a application and then printed everything out and cut and pasted it onto pieces of paper and then went to one of the office stores and had to Xerox everything.
Oh, like Staples and that type of thing?
Yep.
And then they'll put it together for you?
No, we had to put it all together ourselves.
But what did you use for covers? How did you do it?
We had to do the bindings and everything ourselves.
Whoa, my God.
We did it all.
That must have cost.
Which is why there's only one issue.
What was the name of it?
Dark Sun Rising.
Dark Sun, and was it like short stories there?
It was a collection of different things.
Yeah. Now, we're talking with Katherine Bradford, and she is from Blackstone, and she wrote the book Bones Among the Leaves.
Bones Among the Leaves.
Among the Leaves. Now, the air is wild with a colorful flurry of leaves falling from trees like rain. Watchful maple giants burning a vibrant red as though engulfed in a flame. Accented by wise oaks with leaves tinged in golds, browns, and bronze. And she goes on to tell you, within the pages of this book, you'll find a curated anthology of 28 short stories, each vision different from the next in tone and subject, yet together they crystallize a lingering and mysterious power, lying just beneath the surface. Bring a blanket, curl up by the fire, and enjoy a glass of warm apple cider. Now, you have a sequel to this coming.
It's not really a sequel. So this was an anthology that I've tried, and I liked playing with the genres so much that I've decided to write an actual novel. So I'm writing a novel right now.
Is it a mystery?
I want to say it's a teen fiction.
Teen fiction.
Yes.
That's really pop right now, like teen fiction fantasy.
Yeah.
Big. So how do they get a hold of your book, Bones Among the Leaves?
So you can buy that on Amazon. It comes paperback or Kindle. Mm-hmm. And I believe right now the ebook is free, I believe.
I wonder how they can do that.
It's amazing.
I was looking at some of she has her short stories.
Yes, short stories.
Where did you come up with the title Bones Among the Leaves?
Well, I thought it's Halloween, fall, leaves, and when you think of stories that people have in their closets, the skeletons, the bones in their closets, so this is the bones among the fall, the leaves.
I love this last one, definition of insanity. I know what they say, but what do you say? What is it in the story?
Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different.
And that's basically what that little story's about.
That is what that story's about.
Are they all scary, spooky?
No.
No, okay.
A lot of different things. Is a very mixed batch.
Message in a Bottle.
Message in a Bottle is a bit of a romance about a woman who's walking on the beach and she finds a bottle and fantasizes about who it could have been from. And
Close, but not quite.
Close but not quite is more a Twilight Zone-y story where a woman looks in the mirror and the image in the mirror is not quite lined up with what she's doing. And
okay, very close. Yeah. How Evil Works.
How Evil Works. It's a little bit of a twist on The Exorcist where there's a child who's supposedly possessed by the devil, and a newspaper article writer comes to see them, and it's not really what they expect.
No, not quite.
Not quite what they expect.
Under the Maple Street Bridge.
Under the Maple Street Bridge, it's a little bit of a sad story about a teenager who's having some issues, and someone who comes and he listens to them.
And listens to them.
Yeah.
Nature's Gifts.
Nature's Gifts is about, it's based on a fable about a farmer who finds a tree that has golden acorns and makes a deal with the inhabitant of the tree that the farmer will receive enough acorns to live. And as long as he's not greedy, they'll always be there.
These are stories that she thinks up on her own. Short stories.
Yes.
Bones Among the Leaves. Yeah. Where have you been appearing?
I haven't really been appearing anywhere. I did a speech at Blackstone Public Library. Yep. And that was a lot of fun. I wish more people had shown up, but
I think you and I talked about that. You came. I was there, and then you came. You're scheduled after that. A couple weeks after.
A couple weeks after that. Yep.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of a scheduling problem because it seemed like every time that I scheduled a visit there, it snowed.
Yeah, and the librarian was quite sick the day actually that I showed up, but she was a trooper. That's a big room.
It is a big room.
How did you do with that one?
Oh, I had a lot of fun.
You did?
I did.
Were there a few people there?
There were a few people there, and we had a good interaction. It's a small number of people, so it would get to be very personal.
Yeah. Had you ever been to any of the expos, the authors' expos at all?
I haven't, no.
Not yet. So the first one you've been to is the Blackstone.
Yep.
Are you going to get out there?
I'm trying. So originally I was writing just because I enjoyed writing.
Yeah.
But I wrote this and I really enjoyed it, and now I'm trying to actually write a real novel, multiple real novels.
Yeah.
And I figure I'm using this one as kind of a springboard to get my name out there.
Well, you self-published, right?
Yes.
Way to go.
Yes.
And who designed your covers?
I did. I photoshopped the whole thing together.
We had, she moved out west, but we had a paranormal investigator, Joni Mahan. Hello, Joni, if you're watching out there. You'd get along great with her. You and she appreciate that type of cover. Yeah. You both appreciate that. The look of dark with the spooky, that mysterious feeling. Have you ever gone into the paranormal?
I've looked into it a little bit.
A little bit.
It's some interesting aspects.
Yeah, there are. So you did both of your covers. That's great. So you're going to continue to do that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. What age group would you say besides us adults?
This one, at all ages. It's not scary, not too scary. It's not too immature. It's, like I said, it's a mixed bag of different things. The one that I'm writing now, probably more teen to young adult.
When will that be done?
I'm hoping to publish by the end of the year.
Okay.
And this one is a little bit more of I want to say a fictionalized biography of my own situation.
Right.
Actually, the situation that led to this book.
Yeah. It says, memories from the past scattered amongst the decay of fallen leaves.
Yep.
You must have one of those hair-trigger memories you can bring up anything. Oh, that is... And when you started, how old were you now?
When I started writing...
You started just writing everything down.
I started writing when I was young. My first story that was published was when I was in the 7th grade, about 10, 11.
That's fantastic. Were you drawing a lot with your stories?
I wish I could draw. I can't draw a circle.
Okay.
But I'm very creative when it comes to writing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And your family, what do they think of your book?
The people that have read it have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
My partner and my children, they actually are also writers. So
your children are writers?
my children are both
How
writers.
old are your children now?
My son is 20, turning 21, and my daughter is turning 19.
They're in the age group my son is in. They're millennials, right?
Yep.
So they're writers also?
They are also my daughter is very prolific.
Was your father a writer?
No.
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 Isn't that something? Where did you got that engineering talent when you were in the Navy?
From my father.
And your dad?
My father is a military contractor.
Was your mother a writer?
No.
Nobody that you know of. You're it.
I'm it.
And then now your 2 children.
My 2 children and my partner, yep.
What do they write?
So my daughter right now she's doing more of a folklore kind of a thing, but she jumps all around.
Yeah.
And she can write 3,000 to 4,000 words in a sitting. It's amazing. She just
on the computer,
pumps it out.
Just on this like
Pumps it out.
And how about your son?
My son, the last thing he wrote, he worked on a collaborative effort on a horror story with my daughter.
Yeah.
That I was pretty impressive.
I wonder now, are they going to college? They're at that age.
My son is in college. He just finished a couple months ago. He's taking a little bit of leave of absence.
Okay.
He did a 2-year degree, and now he's taking a little bit of a leave.
Yeah.
My daughter's in school right now.
Yeah. Still high school?
No, she's in college.
Oh.
She's been in college since the fall.
Yeah. What is she studying?
Right now, she's doing criminal psychology.
Wow. I mean, she writes. That will be cool.
She's a writer. She wants to be a private investigator.
Oh, that's a really super duper segue right into writing stories because you can do it without putting the real people's names in it, but she can write. Now, I want to learn more about this this book that's coming, and I think you told me you've got 2 or 3 coming.
I've got one that I'm almost finished with, and one that I've already begun working on. Yeah. The one that I'm working on now is, like I said, it's a fictional biography of basically what happened to me. It's about a teenage girl and her family's a little bit in crisis. There's some stuff that happens at the beginning of the book. They go on, the mother takes them on vacation into the White Mountains.
Oh, I love that. I went to college up there.
And we went to the White Mountains a lot when I was young.
Yeah.
And the whole story revolves around a resort and the people in the resort.
Oh, wow.
Sort of trying to help this girl get her life back in order.
And it's sort of kind of based on your own experience.
Yes, the characters are very similar to characters in my own life.
What's the title? Do you know? Can you tell us?
The title is called The Bristlecone Girls.
Bristlecone Girls.
And it's based on a tree that grows in New Hampshire called the bristlecone pine.
Yeah.
That it grows where nothing else will grow.
Boy, is that symbolic.
So, yes, that's exactly why I have this title.
Definitely.
Yep. So it's revolves around the mother, and it revolves around the daughter, and they both their lives are in crisis in the story.
Are they sort of at each other's throats?
No, not really. They have their own problems. The mother is an alcoholic trying to recover, and the daughter is dealing with her own problems.
Her own issues, yeah.
Yep.
Right. Oh, now this is the one that you're working on now.
That's the one I'm working on now.
That's coming. You're going to let me know. That's the one coming out next.
Yes, I'm going to...
What's the one after that?
The one after that I don't have a title for yet. I'm going back to horror for this one.
Oh, cool.
Because I've always wanted to write a zombie story.
A zombie story.
So this is a story that takes place in the zombie apocalypse world. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to try something different. So I've introduced classic horror monsters. So the Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Mummy. Those characters are in this story, but it's modern.
You've brought it up to date.
I've brought it up to date.
It almost sounds like sci-fi, right?
A little bit. I'm still
Imaginative.
working it out. I only have a couple of the main characters sorted out. So the main character is a vampire who's been around for a very long time, and she fell in love with somebody during the Crusades and had a child, and the church stole the child and didn't tell her about it and trained the child as kind of their behind the scenes to manipulate how they kept control, and it kind of explains how the church was able to keep power over all these years. And actually the way that the world ends revolves around what happened with what the church did with this child.
You have quite an imagination.
Yeah.
I think that's the mark of a really good author, too. You know, especially in the genres, that you seem to be able to be very flexible. In your
I've been trying to, well, I was very niche for a long time, and I've been trying to get out of that because I found that after 40 years, my stories are kind of wearing down in the horror genre. So when I was playing with this book, I mixed it up and I found a whole new well of stories. All kinds of new things.
Well, we're talking with Katherine Bradford, and she's the author of Bones Among the Leaves. How again can they get a hold of your book?
So you can get that through Amazon. It's been on Amazon for a couple of years now, or you can get an ebook copy of it.
Yeah, for free, right?
I believe it's free right now, yeah.
Now, is it in any of our bookstores yet?
Blackstone does have it.
The library?
Or the library has it.
Okay, right.
Yes.
But you have spoken just at Blackstone so far?
Right.
Okay. Do you have the time to get out there?
I would love to get out there.
Oh, you got to go.
But I don't know very much about doing that, so I've only just begun.
It's a lot of fun, and you're a good talker.
Yep.
You wouldn't have any trouble getting it. Well, you just appeared at the Blackstone Library.
I did.
And were you talking about your book?
I talked a little bit about the book, but more I was talking about how I became a writer, how I find my stories. I had a really great presentation.
That is how. If somebody out there would like you to come do a presentation, how would they reach you personally?
Well, you can reach
by
me.
your email. Or?
You can reach me by my email.
What's that?
It's yoshie12974@gmail, and I'd be happy to come talk to people.
There you go.
Not just about my book, but about writing in general.
Now you live in Blackstone.
I do live in
How far
Blackstone.
would you be willing to travel?
I travel to Boston every day.
You go out to Boston
Every day.
What time do you have to get up? 5 in the morning? Oh, God forbid.
And I was doing that when I was living in Rhode Island as well, which I used to get up at 4:30.
To go to Boston?
It was a 3-hour commute each way every day.
Where in Rhode Island were you?
I was in Westerly.
Okay, I've lived in Providence.
The most southern tip of Rhode Island is Westerly.
You could be further away. How did you like Westerly?
It was okay. It's beach town. Yeah. So summers were very busy, but the winters were very not busy.
I think I just lost an earring. Yes, I did. I've been as far, when you went to the Cape as a child, we would go through, we would come up from the western part of the state.
Bourne.
Yes, through Bourne.
Yep.
Definitely. Didn't we go through Fall River too, parts of it?
No.
We don't?
No, New Bedford. You go through New Bedford up, I think the edge of 24 goes out to the Cape.
I remember, good Lord, getting on down near Palmer, the Mass Pike. Here
Pike.
we go.
Well, you were also coming from the north.
Oh, well, yeah, the western part of Mass.
Yep.
Yeah, near Springfield. Long trip. Then we'd hitch on to, God forbid, that 128. We hit the Suicide Highway. And then, what is it, 3? What takes you to the Sagamore Bridge?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. It's been a while.
Finally, about an hour or so into the trip, I'd say, when? I was a kid. And Dad said, well, first one to see the bridge, let me know. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. Watching the bridge. It seemed like forever. But for you, have you been to the Cape a lot?
When I was younger, I did, yes.
Yeah. What part did you go to?
My parents had a condo in Yarmouth.
Oh,
so we would go there all the time. And I have family that live there.
Yeah, we lived in South Yarmouth, and we had a cottage in Dennisport, which is not far.
Nice.
Which is not far. Now, your children are writers. Are they going to pursue this, do you think?
I hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah. I know my son writes poetry that is fantastic. I can't get him to see that.
No, my daughter's well aware of the fact that she's a good writer, but I don't think she wants to publish because writing is a very personal thing and not everybody wants to share. I mean, I didn't share for a long time myself.
I'm so glad you did. This next book that's coming up, oh boy, I can't wait to read it. What was the title again?
The Bristol Cone Girls.
The Bristol Cone Girls takes place up in the White
In the White Mountains,
of
yes.
New Hampshire, which a lot of us can relate to.
Right
Love
near,
it up
it
there.
takes place in a resort right near Bethel. I don't know
Is
if
that
you're familiar with
anywhere
that area.
near Plymouth or the White Mountain? That area?
Plymouth is nowhere near the White Mountains.
Plymouth, yeah, Plymouth, New Hampshire.
Oh, Plymouth,
yeah.
New Hampshire. Okay,
Oh, yeah,
yes.
yeah. I remember being up there in college, and the kids would go. We called tubing, those big tubes, and they go down the river. They I'm sure some of them were bombed, but I don't know. They seem to love it up there. We've got about 2 minutes
I
left.
loved it up there as well.
Again, Catherine, how can they get your book Bones Among the Leaves?
So you can get that on Amazon as an ebook or print copy.
And she's going to let me know when the next one comes out.
I definitely will let you know.
That's going to be so.
I'll bring a copy personally.
Thank you very much. Or you can mail it if you'd like.
However you like it.
Whatever. Okay, this will be really great.
Anything to promote my book, I would love that.
Alrighty. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time and be my guest.